Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a really unique investment idea?
Always.
Okay, so today we're looking at TJX companies,
Right?
you know, um, the parent company of TJ Maxx, Marshalls,
Mm-hmm.
Home Goods, all those.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. We're going to be dissecting some analysis from Foking Alpha,
Okay.
which is an investment blog,
Right.
and they outlined a potential double-phase trading opportunity.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what makes this strategy so interesting is
Yeah.
it's the potential to profit from both the predicted decline in the stock
Yeah.
and its subsequent recovery.
Right.
So it's not just your typical buy low, sell high
It's
scenario.
not just a one-way bet.
That's
You're kind of
so
both
it's
sides.
squeezing potential profit from both sides of a price swing,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's break down how this whole shorting thing works.
Okay.
Especially the first phase where Foking Alpha sees TJX heading for a dip. I'll admit, the concept of profiting from a stock going down still feels a bit like magic to me.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Can seem kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Think of it this way.
All right.
With short selling, you're essentially borrowing shares of a stock,
Okay.
selling them at the current price,
Mm-hmm.
and then hoping to buy them back later at a lower price to return to the lender.
Okay.
If the price drops as predicted, you keep the difference.
Gotcha.
So it's almost like,
Yeah.
imagine betting on a basketball team to lose.
Oh, okay.
You're not rooting against
Right.
them. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
playing a different side of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're taking advantage of
Taking advantage.
both sides.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in this case, Foking Alpha sees a short sell entry zone between $115 and $120 for TJX.
Okay.
But what makes them think the stock is going to drop?
Well, they're pointing to some technical indicators,
Okay.
specifically something called bearish divergence
Okay.
and weakening momentum. It's almost like a car that's running out of gas while still coasting uphill.
Oh.
It might keep moving forward for a bit, but it's losing steam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even though TJX's price might still be rising,
Mm-hmm.
these indicators suggest the upward trend is,
On its last legs.
yeah, on its last legs.
Exactly. And to manage risk, they've set a stop loss at $125.
Okay.
That means if the stock goes UP instead of down,
Yeah.
the trade automatically closes to prevent
Gotcha.
bigger losses.
So it's a safety net?
It's a safety net.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's say everything goes according to plan.
Okay.
The stock dips,
Hmm.
and we successfully short it.
Yeah.
Foking Alpha has set some pretty specific profit targets,
Mm-hmm.
90, 70, and $50.
Okay.
Are those just random numbers they pulled out of a hat?
Not at all.
Okay.
Those targets are based on historical price levels
Okay.
and something called Fibonacci retracements.
Yeah, the Fibonacci retracements. Now,
Yeah.
that sounds complicated.
That's complicated. Yeah.
But it's really just a way to identify
Okay.
potential support and resistance levels based on
Right.
mathematical ratios.
Oh, okay.
So imagine looking back at a map of TJX's stock price
Yeah.
over time
Yeah.
and seeing clusters of activity around certain price points.
Right.
Those are like historical landmarks
Okay.
that might influence where the stock could go in the future.
So we're essentially using the past to try to predict the future.
Exactly.
And those Fibonacci retracements,
Yeah.
they help to pinpoint where the stock might stop and bounce back from those historical landmarks.
Exactly. They're like signposts on the stock's journey.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So, we're looking back
Mm-hmm.
to see what could happen
Yeah.
in the future.
Using those historical patterns.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you might be wondering,
Yeah.
what kind of return are we talking about if we hit those targets?
Yeah, what kind of return are we looking at here?
Well, if you entered a short position at $115
Okay.
and the price dropped to 70,
That's roughly a 40% gain.
wow, that's impressive.
Not too shabby for riding a downward wave.
Not too shabby at all. And speaking of riding waves,
Yeah.
what about phase 2 of this strategy?
Okay.
So we've shorted the stock,
Right.
hopefully made some profit, but now what?
Right.
Do we just walk away?
Not quite.
Okay.
Remember, this is a double phase approach.
Yeah.
Foking Alpha believes that after this predicted decline,
Mm-hmm.
TJX will rebound.
Okay.
And that's where the second opportunity lies. Buying the stock at a lower price.
Gotcha. So it's like we ride it down,
Yep.
and then we ride it back up.
Ride it back up.
Right.
Catching a falling knife, but strategically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to continue our travel analogy,
Okay.
they've mapped out a buy zone between $45 and $55
Okay.
with a stop loss at $40,
Okay.
just in case.
Gotcha.
This range has historically been
Yeah.
a strong support zone for TJX,
No.
meaning the stock has tended to bounce back from there in the past.
Oh,
It's like hitting a reliable rest stop
right.
on our journey back up the mountain.
I like these analogies. They're very helpful.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what kind of profit potential are
Yeah.
we looking at for this second leg of the journey?
All right, so Foking Alpha has set some ambitious targets.
Yeah.
90, 110, and $130.
Wow.
If you were to buy in at, say, $50
Uh-huh.
and the stock climbed to $130,
Yeah.
that's a whopping 160% return.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a potential gain
A
of
big potential gain
over 200% when you combine
if you play it right.
both phases.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But hold on.
Yeah.
Before we get too carried away with these potential returns, let's unpack WHY from. Foking Alpha thinks TJX will recover so strongly.
Okay, so they highlight the company's resilience in
Okay.
the retail sector, especially its historical performance during tough economic times.
Okay.
People love a bargain,
That's true.
and TJX's off-price model thrives
Yeah.
when shoppers are looking to stretch their dollars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like having a safety net during economic turbulence.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I know I find myself gravitating towards
Yeah,
TJ Maxx and Marshalls
for sure.
when I'm feeling
Yeah.
budget conscious.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious what other factors beyond this technical analysis
Yeah.
might influence TJX's future performance.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about retail here.
It's things change fast.
Things change very fast.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
This analysis is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
There's a whole world of factors to consider.
Yeah.
The competitive landscape, consumer trends, supply chain issues,
Yeah.
the broader economy.
Right.
It's a complex equation.
Very complex. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this double phase approach is certainly intriguing, but we need to view it as just one potential roadmap, not the whole map.
Exactly. One potential scenario
Yeah.
out of many.
Okay, awesome. Well, this has been super interesting so far.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm very interested to see where we go from here
All right,
and dive more into the nitty-gritty details.
let's do it.
All right, so we'll be back in just a minute.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we've laid out this fascinating double-phase strategy for TJX.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, the whole short-selling aspect still feels a little mysterious.
Sure.
What are the practical steps involved?
Okay.
And what kind of risks are we talking about?
So
Okay.
it's important to remember that short selling isn't just about predicting.
Right.
A stock will go down.
Yeah.
You need a brokerage account that allows short selling.
Yeah.
And you have to be comfortable with the idea
Mm.
of potentially unlimited losses.
Unlimited losses.
Yeah,
That sounds a bit scary.
it can be.
How is that even possible?
Let's say you short a stock at $50,
Oh.
thinking it's going to drop.
Right.
But unexpectedly, some fantastic news comes out,
Oh,
and the price skyrockets to, say, $100.
wow.
Now you have to buy back those shares at $100
Right.
to cover your position.
Yeah. Resulting in a $50 loss per share.
Right.
And theoretically, there's no limit to how high
Yeah.
stock price can go.
Oh, man. Okay, I see where the risk comes in.
Yeah.
So that stop loss we mentioned earlier
Yes.
becomes even more critical. Right?
Absolutely. It's your safety net.
Yeah.
In our TJX scenario, the stop loss for the short position is $125.
Right.
If the stock goes above that price,
Yeah.
your short position will automatically close,
Okay.
limiting your potential loss.
Gotcha. Okay, that's reassuring.
Good.
So assuming we've got our stop loss in place
Yeah.
and we're feeling brave enough to enter the short position,
Right.
what happens next?
Okay.
Do we just sit back and wait for the price to drop?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Short selling requires active monitoring.
Oh, really?
You need to stay informed
Why?
about any news or events
Right.
that could impact the stock price.
So you have to stay up to date.
You got to stay up to date.
Okay.
Remember, our analysis is based on current information.
And market conditions, which can change rapidly.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of strategy.
It is not a set it and forget it. No.
You constantly have to be checking in.
You got to be watching.
Right.
Precisely. You need to be prepared to adjust your strategy
Mhm.
or exit the position if things aren't going as planned.
Right. Okay, that's good to know.
And that's why it's so crucial to understand the company you're shorting.
Okay.
In TJX's case,
Yeah.
we need to consider factors beyond just the stock chart.
Okay, you're right. We've talked about their resilience,
Yeah.
their off-price model.
Yep.
But what are some potential challenges
Oh.
that TJX might face?
So,
What if their inventory gets disrupted?
Yeah.
or consumer spending takes a nosedive.
Those are excellent points.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of questions you need to be asking yourself.
Okay.
What if a new competitor emerges with even deeper discounts?
Oh, yeah.
What if supply chain issues drive up their costs?
Right.
And what about the broader economic climate? If we head into a recession,
Yeah,
will shoppers still be flocking to TJX?
that's true.
Or will they tighten their belts even further?
Right. They might not be buying as many
Exactly.
discount clothes.
Yeah.
So even though Foking Alpha paints a positive picture
Mm-hmm.
for a rebound,
Right.
there are always what-ifs to consider.
Always what ifs.
Yeah.
And that's where fundamental analysis comes in.
Okay.
Looking at TJX's financials,
Okay.
their management team, their competitive advantages,
Right.
all of that helps to paint a more complete picture.
Okay, so it's like we've been focusing on the technical roadmap,
Yeah.
but now we need to zoom out
Zoom out.
and look at the surrounding landscape.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And speaking of zooming out,
Yeah.
I think it's also important to remember
Okay.
that this entire discussion is about
Right.
a specific investment opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not financial advice.
Right, of
Wherein
course.
it's not a guarantee of success.
We're just exploring ideas here.
We're just exploring ideas. Exactly. The key takeaway is that informed decision-making involves both technical and fundamental analysis,
Right.
a solid understanding of risk management,
Yeah.
and constant vigilance.
You always got to be paying attention.
You always got to be paying attention.
Okay, so we've got the short selling part down.
Okay.
We're starting to get a better grasp
Yeah.
of the bigger picture.
All right.
But what about phase 2?
Okay.
Once we've successfully navigated the short position,
Yep.
how do we approach the buying opportunity?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Remember, Foking Alpha sees a buy zone between $45 and $55 for TJX,
Right.
which they believe is a strong support level based on historical data.
Right.
It's like waiting for the stock to hit a trampoline.
Okay.
You expect it to bounce back up from there.
And if we time it right,
If you time it right,
we can hop on that trampoline
hop on,
and ride the stock back up
ride it back up
to those ambitious profit targets,
to those profit targets.
90, 110, and even $130.
Big potential upside.
Huge potential upside.
Precisely. But of course,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee the stock will bounce perfectly.
Right.
That's why we have a stop loss in place at $40,
Okay.
just in case our analysis proves wrong.
So even though we're now looking at a long-term investment,
Right.
risk management remains crucial.
It always remains crucial.
Okay.
Absolutely. And just like with short selling,
Yeah.
buying into TJX at this lower price requires more than just clicking a button.
Right.
We need to revisit our fundamental analysis,
Okay.
reassess the company's prospects, and consider any new developments that might have emerged.
Right.
The market is constantly evolving,
Yeah.
and we need to stay adaptable.
It's like checking the weather forecast
Yeah.
before heading out on a hike.
Uh-huh.
Even if the initial outlook is sunny,
Right.
a sudden storm can roll in.
A storm can roll in.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And speaking of storms,
Okay.
we haven't really touched upon the potential impact of the overall retail landscape on TJX's future performance.
Yeah, we've been so focused on this specific trading opportunity
Yeah.
that we haven't really zoomed out to look at.
The bigger picture.
Yeah, the bigger picture of retail trends.
Exactly. Things are changing rapidly in the retail world,
For sure.
and TJX isn't immune to those shifts.
Right. Well, let's explore that in our next segment.
Let's do it.
All right, so we spent a good amount of time talking about this potential two-phase strategy.
We have.
But let's zoom out for a sec.
Okay.
Talk about the bigger picture
Sure.
of the retail world in general.
Your retail landscape.
What are some of the trends and challenges
Yeah.
that could really impact TJX's future,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of, this short-term price fluctuation that we've been talking about?
Yeah, that's a crucial point.
Yeah.
You can't analyze a company in a vacuum.
Right.
One of the biggest trends I think we're seeing is this continued rise of e-commerce.
That's true.
Even though TJX has an online presence,
Mm-hmm.
they're known for that in-store treasure hunt experience.
Right. It's true. Half the fun of going to TJ Maxx is digging through those racks,
Exactly.
finding those unexpected gems.
Yeah.
But are people still going to be doing that as much?
Right.
If they can just order everything online?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
TJX is going to have to find ways
Yeah.
to make that in-store experience
Right.
even more compelling
Yeah.
to compete with the convenience of online shopping.
Right.
And they are experimenting with things like personalized recommendations,
Okay.
exclusive in-store events.
Oh, that's cool.
Trying to
Draw people in?
Yeah, draw people in, give them a reason to
Right.
come in.
Yeah, so they are adapting to
Yeah.
these changing consumer habits.
They have to.
Yeah. What about the competition?
Okay,
There are a lot of other off-price retailers out there,
for sure.
not to mention these online giants like Amazon,
Yeah, Amazon's a beast.
pushing into new categories all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Competition is definitely heating up.
Yeah.
So TJX is going to need to stay sharp on pricing.
Okay.
Keep their inventory fresh and exciting,
Nah.
and maintain that strong brand reputation for value.
Right.
One advantage they have, though, is their global sourcing network.
Oh, okay.
So they can source unique products from all over the world.
Right, so it's not just about price then.
It's not just about price.
It's also about having those things you can't find anywhere else.
Exactly. You got to have a unique selection.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, got to keep an eye on the competition.
Yeah, what about some of the external factors that are maybe outside of TJX's control?
Sure.
We've had, some pretty crazy supply chain disruptions
Oh, yeah.
in recent years,
Yeah,
and inflation is making everything more expensive.
for sure.
How might those issues affect their business?
Yeah, those are real concerns.
Yeah.
The supply chain disruptions could lead to empty shelves,
Right.
which would definitely impact sales.
Less stuff to buy.
Less stuff to buy, exactly.
Yeah.
And rising costs could force them to raise prices,
Right.
potentially eroding that value proposition.
Yeah, they're known for their low prices.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act.
So even if we nail the timing
Yeah.
on this double-phase strategy,
Mm-hmm.
there are still external forces that could really,
Throw a wrench in the works.
throw a wrench in the works. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
And that brings us back to a key theme I think we've touched on throughout this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Informed decision making.
Yes.
Whether you're considering this specific TJX trading opportunity
Mm-hmm.
or any other investment,
Yeah.
thorough research,
Right.
careful planning,
Yep.
and constant vigilance are essential.
You always got to be paying attention to doing your homework.
Gotta do your homework.
Yeah, this entire conversation has been really great.
It has.
It's really highlighted the importance of understanding not just the technical aspects of a strategy, but also the broader context
the bigger picture.
that a company operates in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about connecting those dots between
Mm-hmm.
the stock chart,
Yep.
the company's fundamentals,
Absolutely.
and just the bigger picture of industry trends and economic forces.
Well said. It's not enough to just follow a roadmap.
Right.
You need to understand the terrain you're navigating.
I love that.
Yeah.
So to wrap up our deep dive into TJX,
Okay.
we've explored this very unique trading opportunity
We have.
with the potential for significant returns.
Yeah, big potential.
But we've also uncovered a whole host of factors that could influence
For sure.
the company's future performance.
Absolutely.
Some within their control, some outside of it.
Exactly. We've analyzed technical indicators,
Yeah.
delved into fundamental factors, and considered the broader retail landscape.
It's been a very comprehensive journey.
It has been a journey.
And remember, this isn't just about TJX.
Yeah.
These lessons we've learned about technical analysis, risk management, the importance of fundamental research
It all applies.
can be applied to any investment decision.
Absolutely. The key takeaway is to approach investing with a curious mind,
Okay.
a healthy dose of skepticism,
Mm-hmm.
and a commitment to continuous learning.
Keep learning and keep exploring.
Exactly.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Yeah, this was fun.
Remember, knowledge is power, especially in the world of investing.
For sure.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and happy investing.